Hello, listeners, and welcome to the Whiteout Podcast.
Yes, hello and welcome, everyone. I'm Rob, PR Director of Ski Press and general ski and gear geek. And that's my co-host, Dom. He's publisher at In the Snow magazine.
Yeah, and together we are your favourite ski podcast dream team from the Whiteout. Each week we talk about ski news from around the world, where's best to ski now, we uncover the latest ski gear for the season, and we feature some of the best ski destinations on the planet, from outdoors to Argentina, Zelensay to New Zealand. See what I did there, Rob?
Good effort. Right, moving on. New for the season from next week, we will be welcoming former British team alpine skier and ski cross racer Ed Drake to our race corner to give us an insight into the alpine ski racing scene. How about that?
Yeah, that's pretty cool, isn't it? And each episode will also introduce a special guest to answer listener questions that have been sent in that include things like how to become a ski instructor or how to launch your ski clothing brand, how to become a ski photographer even. And we've sought out legends, experts, and, well, generally epic individuals to get on here and share their wisdom with us, Rob.
Right, Dom. So this week's guest is...
Yeah, this week's guest, we've got Aaron and Nick from our favourite retro clothing company, Oosc.
We love them, and we love Oosc. I mean, really looking forward to catching up with those two. They've always got a story to tell as well. So anyway, that's later on in the show. What else is coming up this week, Dom?
Well, a quick thanks to our listeners at this point. It's great to have you with us again this week. Don't forget, the best thing you can do for us is share this with like-minded ski pals. Leave a review and follow the podcast. It's amazing how much that helps us at the Whiteout Podcast. They don't make it easy, so here's how. If you're listening on Apple, search for the Whiteout Podcast, click on the tick at the top right-hand corner to follow, and then scroll to the bottom and help us by leaving us a great review, preferably 5-star. Or on Spotify, again, search for the podcast, click on the bell icon and click follow, and then click on the 3 dots and click rate the show. Hugely appreciated, helps us on our way and helps other people find our show. So, Rob, just as importantly, let's welcome our headline sponsor for this season, Ski Weekends. Home of short break and flexible ski holidays, and you can stay a bit longer too. Catered chalets in France, plus hotels in over 30 resorts across Europe and Scandinavia. The ski experts for over 30 years. Visit skiweekends.com.
Yeah, great work, Ski Weekends. And thanks very much for sponsoring us this season, I must say. We'll be hearing a little more about Ski Weekends later in the show. But also this week, we have our global ski news roundup. We've got where is best to ski right now, and of course, our ultimate gear buyer's guide.
Yeah, and we'll also be highlighting the best way to get into the Italian Dolomites this season with Sky Alps.
Yeah, and our destination spotlight this week is the Jungfrau region in Switzerland, of course.
Very nice area, Rob. We were
Lovely.
Out there together last year, weren't we?
So, indeed.
And of course, the snow show's now done. We're all finished. It feels like we're really ramping up towards the winter. Clocks have gone back. We're already getting ready for the second issue of In the Snow magazine. Can you believe it, Rob? It just seems to be racing away, doesn't it?
I know. I mean, the ski show was really busy, which was great to see. I know you gave out thousands of magazines. Thousands! I saw you all weekend handing those magazines out. And of course, we announced on the last podcast episode, the show is now under new ownership. So take a listen to our interview, actually, 2 weeks ago with James Gambrell in episode 50 to find out more about that. I just want to say it's actually a month away from my first ski trip to Austria. And then I'll be on to the French Alps after that.
No, that sounds pretty cool.
Yep.
Where in Austria are you off to?
I've got a really, really quick trip into Austria to test out the new Carve. They've just launched a new edition of Carve, and I'm going to test it out on my first day of skiing for the season, which is going to be interesting, isn't it? Interesting results. Thanks, Carve. No, I mean, it's going to be brilliant. I'm really looking forward to it. But it will be my first day of skiing. So I'm just going to put it out there now. The data might not be as good as maybe, a few days in. But then I'm heading straight across to the French Alps from Austria. Big long train journey across the Alps. Looking forward to that. Get some work done. And I'm joining up with the Action Outdoors team for their staff weekend, which is always a good laugh. You did ask.
Very good. That card too looks really interesting. We'll have to do something on the podcast later about that. Not in this episode, but looks they've really moved on a whole stage, haven't they, to just a device that clips onto the boot rather than something that actually gets embedded in the boot.
Yeah, right.
For sure. Very, very cool device.
Absolutely. Looking forward to
trying it.
They've
even been testing it on one of these indoor ski decks as well, which has been great seeing that done. So
it's good.
So what about the ski show then? We thought it was pretty good. Had quite a buzz about it. It's good to see. Plenty of feedback, fairly positive feedback overall. And of course, now the budget's out of the way. People know where they are with that. Seems like word is out there. Ski holiday bookings are strong. Winter's looking good.
I think it is, Dom. And actually, it just brings me nicely onto our news this week.
Yeah, well, first up in the news this week, Skiing in Jeans Day is back in Jackson Hole, Rob. I mean, don your Levi's, get your 501s out, Rob. Saturday, December the 7th. They're trying to break the world record for the most number of people skiing in jeans, once again, as they do every year. They've got all sorts of deals on lift passes and that sort of stuff for people wanting to get out there and break that record. I think we could do that.
I mean,
still got 501s, Rob? Have you still got 501s?
I was always into the 501s. I don't know if I've got any at the moment, but but Levi's, I've got a few kicking about. I can get them out. I can dig them out. I've probably got a few with holes in the knees as well. I mean, do you think that might be a bit chilly?
I think you can still carry that off.
Don't
Rob.
fall over. If you're going to ski in jeans, just don't fall over. And don't go out when it's really humid and below -5 either, because they just freeze, obviously. So, looking forward to hearing more about Jeans Day. But moving on to a really cool news story. Dan Charlish, who's the founder of the incredible youth charity Snow Camp, has been awarded the Ski Club of Great Britain's highest accolade, the Pery Medal. I mean, this medal was first awarded to Sir Arnold Lunn, right, in 1930 in recognition of his achievements in the world of alpine skiing and ski racing. And other big day winners in the past include Stein Eriksen, Konrad Bartelski, Martin Bell, Sir Ranulph Fiennes, interviewed him once, he's a character, Jenny Jones, and in 2023, David Riding. So he's joining a very nice list of names there. It's very well deserved. That's what
well deserved. That's the words. And as you say, what a list of people to join. I mean, that is some serious list of people, isn't it?
And watch this space, because there's another one coming. I cannot possibly say who else is going to get that medal, but there is another one coming this winter.
Great, well done, Dan Charlish. We love Dan Charlish. Amazing charity. Look up Snow Camp as a youth charity, ski charity. So it's definitely worth looking them up. On to our next story, which is the Arc'teryx Global Winter Film Tour. I went to that this week. It was at the IMAX in London. So unfortunately, if you didn't make it this week to London, you've missed it. However, all I wanted to say was we saw 4 films on the night. Wheezy, Every Island Has a Name, Going East, and Ephemer. And I have to say, it was an absolutely fantastic night. It's the biggest screen in the UK at the BFI IMAX in London. You get the Q&As with the athletes in the films. You get to watch incredible movies and see the athletes and the photographers and the videographers and the post-production team all come out on stage afterwards. And it was really interesting. I mean, there were some very uplifting, hugely fantastic moments where the crowd was going mad, almost like an American sort of crowd. And there was some fairly sad moments too. And we were there. I was there with my daughter, and she came up and she said, the amazing thing is you see things like this on social media, you see movies, and you kind of don't, you just look at it and think, yeah, that's a movie, that's a great bit of skiing, or that's fantastic, imagine doing that. But when you get the actual athletes standing there in front of you that have actually done it and talking their way through it, it really does bring real reality to it. So all I'd say is anybody, it's still going on throughout throughout across the world. So if you are anywhere where the Arc'teryx Global Winter Film Tour is taking place, I would highly recommend going along. It's a great night.
Yeah, I've got it getting a bit of FOMO now, because I did receive an invitation for that event as well, but I just couldn't get into London last week. So
the only reason I put the story in there was to create FOMO. That was the point.
With everybody actually.
Yes, basically, exactly.
Unfortunately, I've got some really, really awful news, and it's never nice to talk about these things. But the 19-year-old Italian ski racer Matilde Lorenzi, she died this week in a fall in training. You know, she was a promising member of the Italian reserve squad, very, very well known within the squad. It's absolutely awful news, and you know, our thoughts go out to her friends and her family, and of course all the Italian race team members as well, who must be just finding this incredibly difficult right now. So very, very sad news about a young and very, very promising Italian ski racer, Matilda. So,
that's awful news. Not much more I can add to that, Rob, other than our thoughts are obviously going out to their friends and family and the race team members at this time, which must be horrendous for them.
Absolutely.
So moving on to slightly brighter stories, the famous French ski gear manufacturer Salomon is opening its first UK store in Covent Garden, London. It's located at 125 Long Acre in St Martin's Courtyard. 235 square metres store designed to allow visitors to opportunity to experience the full scope of what Salomon has to offer. So premium footwear, apparel, gear for running, hiking, skis and winter apparel. Very cool store. I mean, we've seen a couple of those, seen Peak Performance open up very recently, also in Covent Garden area. So it'd be good to go and see that Salomon store.
I mean, that whole area is becoming a real centre for outdoor and ski equipment and clothing, isn't it? We have the Ellis Brigham store there. Obviously, Salomon has just opened a store. I know Clattermuson's just about to open a store in Covent Garden as well in a couple of weeks' time. It is a place, and it always has been a place. I remember really long time back in the day, it's like there was Kensington High Street or there was Covent Garden. That's where you went for your ski gear. And it's really nice to see that this sort of heritage is still there in central London, that you can go and browse those amazing shops. I mean, the Ellis Brigham store is fantastic on 2 floors, isn't it? It's huge, a huge space right in the heart of London. And now Salomon, basically across the road, and other brand stores as well are available. But it's a nice addition. Yeah,
very cool.
Another news story: the world's largest ski resorts operator, Vail Resorts, of course, is readying for the start of the ski season. Expected to be within the next week for its Keystone Resort in Colorado. They're sort of starting to open up there. Resorts will be opening thick and fast through November and into December. So official opening dates are November the 8th, Breckenridge in Colorado, of course. November the 15th, Vail Mountain itself in Colorado as well. November the 16th, Amat and Crans-Montana in Switzerland. I mean, I know that is snow depending, so we shall see how much they open up on November the 16th. But, they're planning to open as... I know there's been a lot of snowmaking investment in both those resorts. November the 22nd, Whistler Blackcomb, British Columbia, of course. California, North Star, California, and Park City Mountain, Utah. Check out our special edition of Park City. Sweet. November the 27th, Beaver Creek, Colorado, and Crested Butte, Colorado. And then as we hit the beginning of December, Kirkwood, California, of course, near Lake Tahoe, isn't it? It's up there. And Stevens Pass, I think that's Washington State. Slightly more obscure one, but Stevens Pass. I think they get a lot of snow up there in Washington.
Yeah. So, and finally...
You did ask.
I think it was the 2 Ronnies that used to have the "and finally" news item at the end, wasn't it? Didn't they suddenly say "and finally" and then they discuss something?
I mean, if you're suggesting that we're up there with the 2 Ronnies, Dom, I'll take it. But "and finally" is where we are having a news item or something we've found, whether it's online or whatever in the industry, and we just like to chat a bit further about that. And this week, Dom, I was reading the American ski magazine Powder online. And they've written an article about another skiing article in the British newspaper, The Telegraph. And I thought this was quite amusing. The Telegraph article was by Leslie Voigt, who we know quite well, and happens to be Canadian. But she wrote this piece titled 15 Things We Don't Do on Ski Holidays Anymore. Right? Okay. And then Ian Greenwood, I don't really know him, but from Powder Magazine, clearly saw this article and then evaluated some of these claims, which I thought was quite funny. And kind of, highlighted some of the differences between Americans and Brits when it comes to skiing. And he led with the fact that the Telegraph claims that we no longer get uproariously drunk every night. That was kind of his headline. I mean, I actually really like both articles. And whilst it's all a bit tongue-in-cheek, there is actually some valid points. And we can't go through all 15. It would just take us too long. But I want to highlight a few and maybe see if we agree with them or not, right?
Yeah.
So one of them was working on a goggle tan. As in, we don't do that anymore. We don't work on goggle tans anymore. I mean, I don't know about you, Dom, but I definitely went for the goggle tan in my 20s. And, it kind of worked pretty well having that goggle tan standing. I mean, it's sad, isn't it? Standing there. Obviously, I've been skiing a lot, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that big indicator. I saw somebody last week when I was in a Mark Warner resort. It was a summer sailing trip, and I saw somebody with a serious sunglass or goggle tan. Right. It literally looked like he had painted white around his eyes and down the sides. It was quite incredible. I really wanted a photo, but
I mean, I remember back in the day, people used to take their goggles off or their sunglasses off and sit there on chairlifts. I'm sure they still do, and sort of soak in the sun on that part of the face that didn't always get it. So they didn't get a goggle tan. And I'm like, what are you doing? Keep your sunglasses on. You've got to really nurture this. It takes time. So maybe Leslie does have a point about that.
Goggle tans are out.
Yeah. But how about only going to France?
Well, come on, I don't agree with that. I mean, we've always travelled to other countries, and in fact, Austria was very popular back in the day, wasn't it?
Yeah, no, I agree. So, sorry, Leslie, that one doesn't cut it with us. I mean, I went to Rick's Grandson in 1995, which was mentioned, I've been going there for 30 years. Anyway, sniffing the wind and praying. I mean, I like this, and it refers to our knowledge of avalanche safety. And I totally agree with Leslie here that we are better educated now, and we also have the equipment that can help us out too.
Yeah, okay, that definitely one that passes the test. I think I'll go along with that.
All right. Next up is packing a lunch. And just remind our listeners, that means no longer packing a lunch.
Yeah, so true. I mean, these days, food's right up there, isn't it? The best thing about skiing holidays, you can really eat, some of the most fantastic cuisine, both on and off the mountain in so many ski destinations now. Packing a lunch, understandable for the budget conscious or the very large families.
Yeah.
Food on the mountain, Rob. Come on. Where would Rob lunches be?
Well, yes, that's true. Where would Rob's lunches be if it wasn't for amazing mountain restaurants? Quite agree with that one. So Leslie, spot on with that. Let's discuss.
Well, we need to plug your Instagram page for Rob's lunches, just in case, so the listeners can follow you on. Is it Rob's Lunches on Instagram?
Yeah, Rob's Lunches. Just Rob's Lunches, yeah.
Great. Right. Well, follow Rob for Rob's Lunches on Instagram. Definitely worth following.
Yeah, it's definitely worth following. Thank you for that, Dom. Let's discuss Powder's headline of no longer get uproariously drunk every night. Dom, what are your thoughts on that one?
Well, Leslie's not been away skiing with you, Rob, for a start.
Actually, well, she has actually, and I can tell you on that particular trip, it was pretty boozy, to be honest. So either she's completely forgotten about that one, or thankfully for me, chosen to ignore it.
Leslie used to write for In the Snow magazine as well, so I'll have to pick her up on that.
Okay, yeah, of course.
On a serious note, she does have a point. I mean, we all like a bit of an après drink, but if you want to go out and get drunk, you can do that anywhere. Yeah. We all want the skiing the next day. We don't want to spoil the next day. So I think maybe people, or maybe it's our age that have just calmed down, and we just don't know what the youngsters probably are still doing that, and they can, because they can.
Yeah, maybe, but I do think that. I mean, I do think it is a point that when people go skiing now, they want to ski. They want to ski more, and enjoy that après drink, of course. But being out till 4 a.m. and wobbling home, to try and get a couple of hours sleep. I mean, so I think that's a good one. This is my favourite though. Well, just one more. Wait for it. Sleeping with chalets. Oh, sleeping with chalets? No, not that one. Sleeping with strangers in a chalet. Now, personally, as a happily married man, I am obviously not going to entertain this idea, but Leslie, I'm sorry, I don't buy it. And I'm absolutely convinced there's just the same amount of hanky-panky going on in ski resorts as there has ever been. Right? I do get that.
I think Leslie might have a point. I think you're hanging out in the wrong places, Rob.
Okay. Actually, it could be a good time to point out some of the solo ski holidays on offer this season, Dom. I mean, including ski weekends, of course. They're very good on that.
Yep. I think we can end things there, Rob. Yes. But yeah, good fun content. And there's over 200 comments on the Telegraph article now. So it clearly has touched a nerve with people, for sure.
Absolutely. Right. All very interesting. What's up next?
Well, World Cup racing. So from next week, we'll be joined, as we've mentioned, by Ed Drake coming on to our race corner to talk about the Alpine ski racing. And until then, Rob, we've got to convince everyone that we know what we're talking about. Well, I certainly do. I know that you know what you're talking about.
I mean, it's been great to have Ed joining us, of course. Dom, the World Cup ski racing kicked off last weekend in Solden, Austria, with both the men and the women competing in the traditional giant slalom opener on the glacier.
Yeah, you were there a couple of years back, Rob. So what did conditions look like the last time you were there?
Pretty good, Dom. I mean, snow looked good. The weather held up as well, so I'm sure the organisers were very happy about that. The racing itself wasn't without controversy, though, as we saw the return of both Marcel Hirscher coming out of retirement, Austrian Marcel, of course, competing for the Netherlands suddenly, and Lucas Bruthens, who walked out of the Norwegian team, basically, last season, and has returned representing Brazil. Worth noting that Lucas is half Brazilian. It's also worth mentioning his manager is now Charlie Raposo, former British team racer, of course, who retired last year. And Charlie is half Portuguese, I think. So language-wise, it obviously makes a lot of sense. But I spoke to Charlie earlier this year, and he was super confident about Lucas's chances in the World Cup. And, he didn't disappoint last weekend, Dom. I mean, 4th place in the first race of the season. So amazing, really.
Fantastic.
Even more incredible was the 1, 2, 3 Norwegian podium of Alexander Steen Olsen in first place, then Henrik Kristoffersen, and then Atle McGrath in third. Never been done before. And of course, with Lucas in 4th place, you do wonder what those Norwegians have got in their water system.
Yeah, it's pretty
What are they feeding them?
It's quite incredible, isn't it? I mean, people were starting to write off Kristoffersen 2 years ago when you interviewed him in Solden, weren't they?
Yeah, that's true. But I never wrote him off. I mean, the controversy came this time round with Hirsch's bib number compared to Brathen's. Austrian, Netherlands, Hirscher getting a bib of 34 as a wild card, and the Brazilian Brathen's a bib of 41.
Sorry, Rob.
All going off in the Killinger household. It's all going off in the Killinger household.
Hey.
And this episode of the podcast, we have been joined by 2 dogs.
Your dog's home. Don't even know what it is.
So
It's in 4th place.
Came with Hirsch's bib number compared with Brathen's. So, Austrian, Netherlands, getting a bib number of 34 as a wild card, and the Brazilian Brathen's bib 41. Now, whatever the reasons for that, I mean, basically, for Brathen's to end up in 4th place in a comeback race for Brazil was amazing.
Yeah, I mean, it's absolutely incredible. Very cool indeed. So what about the women's, Rob?
Yeah, I know, because honestly, this whole weekend was full of surprises, as it looked like normal service resuming with Michaela Schifrin's 1st place position after the first run. But it got flipped over in the second, with Federica Brigroni of Italy taking the top spot and Alice Robinson in 2nd place. The New Zealander, of course, won here back in 2019, becoming the youngest ever female skier to win a World Cup race. And then the relatively unknown Austrian, Julia Scheib, I think, Scheib. Yeah. Sorry, Julia, taking the 3rd podium spot, pushing Schifrin into 5th, with another sort of relatively unknown American skier, Katie Henson, wedged in between. So, interesting.
Yeah, very exciting stuff. We know there's now no British giant slalom skier, man or woman, racing on the World Cup, which seems a real shame for sure.
Yeah, it is a shame. I mean, I think we've always struggled to produce giant slalom skiers. Obviously, we mentioned Charlie before, and exceptional talent. But let's see. We've got some exciting young talent coming through. I'm going to catch up with Vicky Gosling, CEO of GB Snowsport, on Monday, Dom. So maybe she will have some insights into this as well.
I love it, Rob. You're always rubbing shoulders with fame there. So you do get around a bit. Is that before we meet up in the Italian embassy for a little aperitif, or is it after?
Yeah, that's right, Dom. Yeah, another embassy coming up. We must be doing something right.
It's only taken you 30 years to get an invite.
Yeah, true. Well, it's all about the journey, not the destination.
Oh, I like that. All about the journey. Well, that's what you tell yourself. Anyway, moving on. Great little roundup of race news there. And next time we're here in 2 weeks' time with Ed Drake, it will be even more exciting because you and he will be so much more engaging than my lacking knowledge on the racing side. But anyway. So next up is where is best to ski now? So obviously we've just seen the first World Cup race of the season takes place in Solden Glacier, and it looks like it was in pretty good shape, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I mean, not much has changed in Europe over the past 2 weeks since our last report, apart from the fact the glaciers have remained in really good condition. And I keep hearing that from people as well. The likes of Sasfay, Zermatt, Hintertux and Pitztal, and then also Passo Stelvio in Italy. Nothing is open in France yet from what I can see, but it won't be too long now. There's no big dumps in the forecast for the next week or so, but that will change. I mean, it always does as we head deeper into November.
Yeah. It's a bit colder in Scandinavia, where we'll see the next World Cup ski races taking place in Levi, Finland, in the middle of November. And then over in North America, there's a few areas starting to open up, including, as we heard earlier, Keystone and Wolf Creek in Colorado, with more due to open as we go into November. So that's looking pretty good. Don't expect powder just yet, but it's definitely on its way.
Yeah. Won't be too long now until we start talking about that powder, Dom. I mean, I can see some big dumps coming out on the horizon in Japan. So watch this space.
Yeah, very good. So what's up next? On to our Gear Buyer's Guide. What do you think? First up is the Hestra Alpine Couloir glove, Rob.
Ooh.
It's a flexible free-riding glove. I loved it. Got hold of this for long days in very well-mountain terrain. It's hard-wearing goatskin, beautiful soft leather. It's got the C-zone membrane, protect from moisture. There's a curve fit, provides good grip around your ski poles. Feels great when you put it on and grab hold of your pole, even when I'm standing in the living room looking very ridiculous. Good stuff for sort of super high speed, steep runs, and any situation that has got the real sensitivity focus. They're 120 quid, and you can find out more at hestragloves.uk/find a retailer. So you can check that out to find those gloves and find where you can buy them from. 120 quid, great pair of gloves, Rob. You've got to get hold of a pair of those.
I love a Hestra glove, and I really mean that.
Beautiful.
I've got a few pairs kicking about that are probably pushing 20 years old now, and they're still perfectly usable. So, yeah, a really great glove brand. I have got the new Scott C98 skis. They retail at £625. That's ski only, but great value for money, actually, this ski. Got to test them out last season at the ski test. You know, we're lucky enough to try the skis months before they hit the shops. But if you're the sort of skier that's getting into free ride skiing, you enjoy skiing the whole mountain, perhaps, and you kind of to buy that ski that does it all. I mean, it's 98 underfoot, but I can tell you it's for all mountain skiing. I mean, it sounds quite wide, 98, but it's a brilliant all mountain ski. This one's suitable for both men and women as well. It is a really good free ride ski for a whole variety of terrain. You know, think powder, chopped up snow, but it's also super smooth on piste as well. And the SpinTech rocker, which is on the tip, you know, the tip and the tail, the rocker at the ends of the skis, really helps to pivot the skis. In other words, make those skis turn really, really easily around the pivot point. And also helps with smooth edge transitions as well. I mean, a lot of people think rocker just helps in powder. I think those days are long gone. You know, the rocker's there designed to help the skis turn on all parts of the mountain. There's a full length poplar wood core that gives lots of flexibility and responsiveness, and there's a lightweight construction thanks to Scott's AirTech technology. It's really great for all levels, all skier levels. I mean, if you're heading off piste, you obviously need to be good enough for that, right? So you're probably a high-end intermediate or an advanced skier if you're going to categorize it that way. But it's definitely a ski that is going to help make things a whole load easier for you. So check them out. That is the Scott C98. Check them out on scott-sports.com.
Yeah, very good. And you can also head over to the YouTube channel In the Snow Mag, where you can find full reviews on that as well. So that's well worth checking out, because I think that's you on there, Rob. Like I can see on the Scott C98 on the 2024 ski test review.
You know what's all a blur to me. I mean, I definitely skied on them. I can't remember if I reviewed those if I'm the reviewer on that video or not. But you are. Oh, okay. Yeah. Oh, well, there you go.
So check out In the Snow Mag on YouTube. Well worth looking. Now, you sound all professional, you see, when you're talking about these skis. And now I'm talking about H&M Move, which is H&M, the clothing store on the high street.
Nice.
They have launched their latest collection for 2024. And they say it's an exciting blend of cutting-edge technology and contemporary classic styling that promises to redefine your winter sports experience. Crikey, imagine that. Imagine going to H&M and redefining my winter sports experience. That sounds quite amazing. So their collection this year, they've got a bit of an evolution in their active brands range with the introduction of Reco, so it's quite nice to see. Search and rescue technology. And they've got their more modern silhouettes, so I'm guessing they've got new color ranges and color blocking and that sort of stuff. H&M Move's Thermo Move trademark and Storm Move trademark fabric technology. So yeah, they definitely sound like they're getting into it. I think they were quite successful with their new range last year.
Yeah.
Obviously, they've got massive reach on the stage. You know, you go into the huge shopping centres at H&M there. Getting into the ski stuff, they're probably going to do quite well, I would think.
Yeah, I mean, it's great to see ski wear on the high street, and it puts it in front of consumers, and it's accessible. And if you think about back in the day, the famous CNA type ski wear, it was so popular, and I'm pretty sure it was my first ski suit. And so H&M, it's great to see that. I'm just going to quickly talk about the Salomon Brigade Index helmet. It's a helmet obviously from Salomon. It retails at £110. And this helmet it's crafted from a single material. So that helps with the full recyclability of the product. And the Brigade Index helmet, it's got, a lot of safety features, but it's also very comfortable, and it's really good, has really good shock absorption features in it as well. It's got custom dial, 360 fit. and airflow channels too. So, what Salomon say is, here's their little tagline: performance with a sustainable edge, which is exactly what it is. So the Brigade Index helmet, £110, really, really good, solid, all-round helmet from Salomon. Check that out at salomon.com.
Or go to their new high street store. I'm sure they'll probably have one in there.
Go to the store in Covent Garden, even better. Try it on.
And next, we've got the Snowcart Classic Boot Bag, £35. I remember Snowcart when they very first started. That's quite some years ago now. They call it the Classic Boot Bag. Loads of space for ski and snowboard boots and accessories. Really like their stuff. I like their branding. Features multiple external pockets for all your essentials. Waterproof, lightweight fabric, padded handles, removable shoulder strap, folds away really neatly when it's empty. So yes, great little travel companion that for carrying around your boots. You can buy that from Ski Exchange. So skiexchange.co.uk, they're 35 quid, the Snowcart Classic Boot Bag.
The Classic Boot Bag, nice. Just as it says, it's what it is. It's a Classic Boot Bag, 35 quid. Can't go wrong. And I know with Snowcart, the material is going to be really hard wearing as well. I've got a few Snowcart bags, again, that I've probably had for well over 10 years, and they're still in good nick. Okay, onto the thermic heated insoles, right? Thermic heated insoles with CPAC 1300. You get up to 22 hours of warmth with these. Ideal for those really cold mountain days. 3 heat settings, compact design, USB charging, easy control. So very comfortable, very convenient. They say goodbye to cold feet and enjoy lasting warmth all day long. So that's the, heated insoles. What a nice thing to have. They are £140, but I tell you what, your feet aren't going to be cold ever again. And you can buy them again at skiexchange.co.uk. Go to Ski Exchange. Yeah, it's always nice, isn't it? Nice to have toasty warm feet.
Oh, it's such a luxury that. Such a luxury that.
Worth every penny, I would say.
100%.
If you're going to go in the middle of winter,
and if you really do suffer from cold feet or cold hands, some people really do suffer with them, as we've talked about before. It's just 140 quid's nothing for that.
Absolutely,
because they last forever. Those things. I mean, my wife's still using some thermic feet heaters that she's had for about 17 years. I mean, and they're still brilliant.
Yeah. So there you go. So every ski trip you do, if you do one ski trip a year, that's my maths isn't brilliant, but that's less than a tenner per ski trip, right? So
exactly. Yeah. Very well worked out, Rob. I'm impressed. And the final product for our gear buyer's guide this week is the Sprayway Torridon insulated jacket at £180. Really nice. This is an original jacket they've had for years. Do you know, I think we featured this before. It's warm, great protection, it's insulated. It's got tech shell plus fabrics and thermosphere insulation, 90% recycled content, stay dry, eco-conscious, sprayway.com, 180 quid. It's a great jacket.
You know what? I might be wrong about this, but I think the Sprayway Torridon jacket has been going for more than 30 years. I mean, there certainly has been a jacket called the Torridon, and I'm sure it was always the Sprayway Torridon jacket. It's a real classic. Yeah. So good to see it still around. Right, that's all from our buyer's guide this week, Dom. What's next?
Very good. Well, on to our destination spotlight of the week this week, Rob. And this week, we are spotlighting the Jungfrau ski region. Oh, this gets me exciting. I love Jungfrau. It's located in the heart of Switzerland. It's reachable by direct train from Zurich Airport.
Yeah, it's a fantastic area. It's one of my favourites as well for many reasons. And you're right, Dom. There's a direct train to Interlaken, which is, the start of the region, the entry point to the region, and from there you can choose to go further up to either Grindelwald or Wengen, of course.
Yeah, and they're both very different. I mean, Grindelwald, real picture postcard stuff, nestled right underneath the huge walls of rock and ice.
Yeah,
the Monch, Eiger, Jungfrau Mountains. Then the relatively new Eiger Express cableways bring you into the mountains right up at the Eiger Glacier Station. It is breathtaking.
Yeah, and if you haven't been to that area for a while, I've got to say that Eiger Express has totally revolutionized the skiing there. I'll back that point up quite happily. I mean, it provides super fast access from Grindelwald at the terminal station down there. It's like a mini airport terminal.
Yeah, it is.
Before that existed, you'd need to get, and there was only a couple of years ago, you'd need to get a train or the sort of the old Mannlichen gondola, which has also been replaced. So from Grindelwald, it was always a bit of a schlep. Not anymore.
No, it's lovely, isn't it? I mean, it is literally like you say. I mean, it's like a very, very smart, posh airport terminal. In fact, it's nicer than an airport terminal.
Yes, it's much nicer.
so easy now to ski down to Grindelwald and hop on those lifts, which also means if you're staying in Wengen, it's much easier to get back over again. So that's really, really nice.
Yeah, that's right. And of course, Wengen, I mean, Wengen's a classic ski resort as well, isn't it? Totally car-free, reachable only by train from the Lauterbrunnen in the valley below. Such a cozy little village, lots of 3- and 4-star hotels, like the historic Victoria Laberhorn, for example. But there's also a new 5-star hotel opening this winter called the Grand Hotel Belvedere, new 5-star.
And the skiing area, I mean, it's so well connected, isn't it? You can still choose to take the train, which can be nice, a bit slow, but if the weather is bad, it's not a bad option. The area is really well suited for those sort of intermediate skiers with some like super wide open slopes, especially above Kleiner Scheidegg. Kleiner Scheidegg. It's just beautiful. Yeah. Love it.
Yeah, it is. And of course, there's also the world-famous Laberhorn Men's World Cup downhill ski race, which is still the longest on the circuit. Finishes down in Wengen, just outside the village. Don't forget the slalom the next day as well, which is always a classic too, of course.
Yeah, they take place over the weekend of January the 17th to the 19th with a Super G, downhill and slalom, like you say, Rob. It's also possible to experience that run. It's a classic red, maybe even black in a few places, but it's definitely worth ticking off your list.
Yeah, very true. I always try to take skiers down that run from top to bottom when I'm in the area because it's so much fun. Like you say, I think it's marked black on the piece map, but it's definitely more red than a black run. There's some good off-piste options in the right conditions as well, especially around the Eiger Glacier area. But I would say beyond that, it's definitely worth having a guide in that area if you're going to go touring or further off-piste.
We should also mention the first area too on the other side of the Grindelwald is mostly south-facing. It has a snow park and it's generally pretty nice, mellow terrain over there. So it's great even if you had to just do 1 or 2 days up on that side. It's really, really nice.
Yeah, I agree, Dom. I mean, it's very picturesque up there too. One of the other main points about this area is how good it is off the slopes as well. The obvious thing to do excursion is the Jungfrau Joch, I should say, top of Europe experience.
That is stunning, Rob. I was lucky enough to be taken up there. Well, it was summertime, or there was blooming freezing and plenty of snow and ice still. But that is quite an incredible experience, as all these experiences are. But that really was spectacular. The railway line links up at either Kleiner Scheidegg or station and takes you through the actual Eiger Mountain. It's built over 100 years ago. And at the top there's just an incredible viewing station. The ice caves, the start of the Alps, longest glacier, the Aletsch. And, of course, a choice of restaurants too. And if you want to buy yourself a £100,000 watch, you can do that while you're on.
Yes, you can, actually. Quite bizarre.
Where else would you go to buy a watch?
Well, obviously, you'd go up a very, very large mountain in the Alps to buy a watch.
Yeah. Great when you've got to take it back.
It's quite easy to put a watch in your backpack. It is actually Europe's highest railway station at 3,454 metres. And, of course, don't forget the Lindt chocolate store, too. I mean, it's almost worth a trip for that alone, Dom.
For sure. I'm a Lindt chocolate fan. I'm a chocolate fan. I'm just a chocolate fan. So back down in Grindelwald, the choice of hotel accommodation is massive and always great quality. I know we stayed at the Bergwelt a couple of years ago, Rob, and that place was really lovely as well.
Yeah, I mean, it really is, actually. There's a number of really great 4-star hotels in Grindelwald, such as the Sunstar. Then there's the Eiger right in the centre of town. You've got the 4-star Belvedere. I stayed there literally a couple of weeks ago, actually. That has just won a Michelin star and it's a smaller restaurant too. I didn't get to try that restaurant, but it looks very, very nice.
Yeah, really nice. And overall, I mean, it's one of our favourite ski areas, Rob, for sure. I mean, get there by train from Zurich Airport. There's direct service to Interlaken, but change there for the short journey to either Wengen or Grindelwald, as we mentioned. So that's, it's a really beautiful journey as well, isn't it?
It is. And, you've got these two ski resorts, Wengen and Grindelwald, are very close to each other and linked, of course, with a lift system. And I think it's worth mentioning that FlexiSki, the tour operator, has launched a new twin centre ski holiday for this winter on February the 28th. And that's staying in both Grindelwald and Wengen in the same week. And you can ski over from one place to the other to your new hotel, basically. And your bags are taken by rail. It's a very Swiss thing to do. Such a cool thing to do as well. And prices start from around £1,500 per person, including rail transfers in a 4-star hotel for 7 nights. So it's pretty good.
Good work, FlexiSki.
Yeah.
That is a good offer. I like that. Very
It's
nice.
just different, isn't it? Nice.
Yeah, well, you can check that out on flexiski.com and look for multi-centre ski holidays via the Inspiration tab, or just give them a call on 01962 587.
Sounds
How
good.
about that, Rob? It's nice.
Yeah, I like the idea of it. And actually, it's something I've done a couple of times myself, also in the Port Soleil, stay in different resorts and get your bags taken across. That's also another one that's possible as well. But yeah, to experience both resorts in a week, it's quite, I mean, Flexi Ski, I mean, obviously by its name is flexi. So that's the reason why they can do that, where I think a lot of tour operators would struggle to, have that flexibility of 2 hotels in a week. I think that's the case.
Yeah, absolutely. Good on you, Flexi Ski. Well done. Visit flexiski.com and I'll just give that number again, 01962 777.
Excellent.
So, Rob, on to new things. We have a special partner on this week's episode in the name of Sky Alps, where you can book your shortcut to the Dolomites right now, save precious time, and enjoy a premium experience on board a Sky Alps flight.
Oh, yeah. So with its direct flights from London Gatwick to Bolzano in Italy, Italian boutique airline Sky Alps offers a unique shortcut to the Dolomites, cutting some transfer times from other airports, such as Innsbruck or Venice, nearly in half.
Yes, indeed. The route between London, Gatwick and Bolzano will now operate up to 3 times a week this winter on Wednesdays, Saturdays and Sundays, and takes passengers to Bolzano in around 2 hours. And of course, Bolzano Airport is close to a whole host of world-famous ski resorts and historic sites. In no time, you'll be able to experience Dolomites super ski, more than 1,200 kilometres of slopes, one of the largest interconnected ski networks in the world, or slide into a gourmet restaurant in the centre of Bolzano.
Ooh, nice. Yeah. Ticket prices start at 184 euros per person for a flight. So that's great. Children between 2 and 11 years of age go for a reduced fare, 30% discount for them. They are entitled to the same conditions as the book fare as well. And nice. Children between, 0, right, and 2 years of age travel for free as well.
Nice.
Yeah.
So, and then you can relax and enjoy premium experience on board. It does look like you're almost flying on a private jet. Yeah. From what I've seen, and I'm desperate that I'm going to get on there at some point.
Me too.
I'm sure you will as well. They have a nice wine menu in hand, and South Tyrolean wines, all complimentary, in-flight complimentary snacks with local delicacies, with Italian flair, including full-fat yogurt, Rob. I mean, God, it's like life of the rich and famous. And fennel-flavoured Schüttelbrot, a regional bread. I mean,
sounds like
we've got to go on board for the Schüttelbrot.
Well, I mean, any airline that serves Schüttelbrot is a must fly route, I would say. Yeah, and Bolzano, it's a small airport, very quick, very efficient. You won't get big queues generally, if any. Whisk through security, that kind of place, straight onto the slopes, cutting some transfer times from other airports such as, Innsbruck or Venice, right, nearly in half. So you're really cutting that transfer time down.
Yeah, and it genuinely does look like private jet sort of standards. Yep. I mean, it really does look. I mean, I'm not trying to overinflate it because I don't want to get my hopes up, but it really does look pretty special. Obviously, close to loads of world famous ski resorts. You've got the Dolomites. Such a lot of great skiing there. Wealth of winter activities, snowshoeing, ice skating, tobogganing, wellness, top class spas. It's beautiful. Yeah, very nice indeed.
I mean, South Tyrol. There's a lot of very sort of striking contrasts there. Alpine and Mediterranean, they sort of merge together. You've got this sort of regions, the regional cuisine, sort of a mixture between that Mediterranean, Austrian, if you like, 300 days of sunshine a year in that area, as well as a very sort of, a wide variety of winter activities, not only skiing, to choose from.
Absolutely amazing. So yeah, very keen on that area. I love skiing in the Dolomites, and well worth checking out Sky Alps. So on Instagram, you can find them at Fly Sky Alps on Instagram, Facebook, Fly Sky Alps too, and on YouTube, Sky Alps-Airline. So well worth looking at that. If you're just straightforward visiting them on the web, it's skyalps.com.
So there we are.
Very good. Brilliant. So, Rob.
Yeah, on to this week's Desert Island Ski Resort, Dom, where we interview somebody fabulous. They're going to share their wisdom with us, and they're going to answer some of our loyal listeners' questions too.
Yes, indeed, Rob. And this week you get nothing for a pair.
Not in this game.
Showing our age there, Rob. This week, we are joined by two special guests in the name of Nick and Aaron, co-founders of Oosc, the British ski clothing brand. I recall meeting these guys, and I'm sure you do too, because we were together at the time. Sounds like we always hang out together, doesn't it?
It does.
Where we were together in Munich at a ski trade show, where we saw them burst onto the ski scene. And I recall walking away saying, tell you what, Rob, those guys are awesome. If anybody can make that happen, they definitely can.
He did say that, yeah. He did say that.
Yeah. They are two university mates, started the business in 2015, all for the love of snow sports, both skiing since they were kids, and now having sold their fabulous ski gear in 110 countries and recently won the King's Award for International Trade. Welcome to the Whiteout, Nick and